Yeah.
Oh, thank God I had a fairy. You always carry a fairy, guys.
Always, yeah.
Always.
Duh.
That
Now, are
is.
you carrying the fairy, or is the fairy carrying you?
I mean, well, let's be honest. I am relying very heavily on that fairy. Get out.
Behind every great hero of time, there is a
There
fairy.
There is at least one fairy. All right,
I will.
it's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I have not managed to do it. I came really close. I came really close to doing it. But and
You
everybody.
actually have a considerable amount of time left in this dungeon. I don't know.
Well,
Or
no, I'm pretty much right there.
Okay.
I have the. All right, Sparking Cyanide says keep playing. We've got 2 votes for Halo Butts for days. Brenderb says keep playing. All right, everybody, welcome to Joystick Streams. My name is Anthony John Agnello, Joystick Community Manager, and today we have a special treat. The new Wii U exclusive Hyrule Warriors. We're going to be checking out that action.
Which is not this.
Which is not this. What you are seeing right now is a little piece of Hyrule history. I'm just messing this up. This is Link to the Past. The Super Nintendo. Oh my god, I am terrible right now. There we go. The Super Nintendo Legend of Zelda. And unfortunately, a game that is not super well represented in Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors is based on the Dynasty Warriors series. It is made by 2 Tecmo Koei studios, Omega Force, who are the creators of Dynasty Warriors, and Team Ninja, creators of those wonderfully flamboyant games, Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden. And it is a very unusual take on Zelda. Rather than the usual just going through dungeon after dungeon, solving puzzles on a sort of epic quest, you're just fighting people all the time. Oh god, there's a key that I forgot to get. And alright everybody, I can't remember where the extra key is. So, we're bailing on Link to the Past. I'm a quitter. Everybody, I am a quitter. This is what's happening. I'm gonna create a restore point, and we're gonna go play Hyrule Warriors. So Hyrule Warriors next. Can you detail the story of Hyrule Warriors? What's going on? Because it is a little bit weird.
Yeah, I can give it a shot. First off, let's be totally clear. The story has all of the I can't even think of the word. It's qualitatively, I'd say it's on par with something you'd see on the Super Nintendo. It's not great, but it sets things up nicely for the gameplay. So here's how things work. 2 characters were created for Hyrule Warriors who do not exist outside of Legend of Zelda. A sorceress named Sia and a sorceress named Lana. They're basically identical, but you can think of them as 2 sides of the same coin. One's evil, that's Sia. One's good, that's Lana. And Sia's goal is to gather the 3 pieces of the Triforce and use it in her quest for world domination. Unfortunately, collecting pieces of the Triforce can have some negative repercussions for a person, as has been demonstrated in numerous Legend of Zelda games.
That can go poorly for people.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil things, but let's just say that Sia isn't the real enemy.
All right, time out really quickly. Susan Arndt just brought up my favorite thing, and the Joystick crew is sick of this because I've told them this joke about 90 times. But the new character Lana, who we're gonna.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah,
I absolutely know where you're going with this.
We're gonna check out Lana right now. This is Lana on the screen. She's a blue-haired sorceress, and when one of the first times you take control of Lana, she teams up with Midna from the game Twilight Princess, the freaky little elf girl with the orange hair that turns into a hand. And all I could think to myself was, and like they have a very confrontational relationship, and all I could think was Midna going, Lana! 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 What? Twilight Zone. It felt good saying it.
The other thing that you'll notice is that Lana has gigantic man hands also.
Oh, huge man hands.
Huge.
Man hands for days. So we will like just take a little quick look at the menu. There is Legend Mode. Legend Mode is the story. Free Mode is where you can just play any level from the story mode with any character you want. You are restricted for most of the story as to what character you can pick. And then there's Adventure Mode, which is like a big challenge mode based on the Legend of Zelda map. I'll just hop into Free Mode, and we can check out some of the early levels. And I'm not even going to be Link, because the awesomest thing about Hyrule Warriors is that you don't have to be Link. You can be all these other awesome characters who you never get to play as. And Impa is like my second favorite of them.
Oh, Impa's awesome. Impa is surprisingly awesome. It's like if she has been existing all of these years, why even bother with Link when you like the world is threatened?
When did Impa become like this crazy water wizard?
I don't know, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, because she used to just be an old lady, and that was the rule.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully, we'll maybe see her in action later. But one of her like heavy combos is just like insane.
I do like she does have.
She shoots the big sphere of water that explodes.
Yeah,
or is it
like just out of nowhere. Like,
yeah.
So I think in this game the story is that it's not like her magic. Everybody's weapon is based on certain elements. So
right.
like
all combat is powered up by the weapons, by weapon skills.
And so Lana. Lana. Next, remind me. Lana has one ability that is like fire-based, I think, or light-based, or is it lightning?
I think Lana's. I believe she's light. The thing is with characters, they start out with one elemental attribute.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And as you collect new weapons, and this isn't like Dynasty Warriors where you'll find like 30 new weapons on each battlefield. The weapons are doled out much less frequently, and to get the major weapons, which unlock entirely new kinds of weapons for each character, you'll usually only find those by beating a boss or by completing one of the secret objectives.
Oh, you guys are about
question.
Right here in the first level, fairy that says, "Hey, listen." Hey, listen.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this right here.
I noticed they didn't actually pull the same audio from Ocarina of Time. It's a new recording.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically that's not Navi.
Yeah, it's proxy.
Proxy.
Right.
How very droll.
Yeah.
That Link's voice is proxy. I gotta say, everybody is like, Link is such an awesome warrior in this, like they always do. But he kind of, compared to everybody else, he kind of sucks.
He's fine. He's very vanilla.
Yeah, he's the Ryu of the series, so super easy to pick up and learn. But once you get past those basics, you want something more creative. I always play as Ganondorf. He's the Lu Bu of this game.
Oh, Ganon is awesome.
Yeah, so he just wrecks dudes.
Now, someone in the comments of the review asked if Tingle was a playable character in the game. Which he's not.
He's not.
But yet.
So
it's possible Nintendo could release DLC since they're doing that.
And Nintendo has already with this game shown an unusual willingness to get weird, because the bug girl, Ingrid, is it Ingrid? Remember that correctly? Yeah, Ingrid, the bug girl from Twilight Princess, who's just a weirdo, inveterate weirdo, and I adore her, is a character that shows up, and you can unlock her later on. You have to get really far into the adventure mode to be able to use her. But man, if Tingle shows up as DLC, it's not impossible, and that will be a happy day. This guy that I'm fighting right here, Volga, is also like a human version of one of these central bosses from Ocarina of Time. shows
Yeah,
up
you may
as the-
recognize him as a big floppy-looking dragon in other games.
He's a big.
I'll point out though, Volga is one of the 3 characters that I was talking about who's coming to the game as free DLC. It's Volga, Wizorb, and Sia are all going to be playable characters.
Sia, who we will get to at least a chunk of the game that has Sia in it. Sia's that bad guy that Nex was talking about. And she is, I guarantee you, whatever the next Dead or Alive game is, there will be a Sia costume. No, Kasumi will like have like a Sia costume.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that. Koei Tecmo loves their DLC.
Now, oh man, I would like if Team Ninja wanted to make a Legend of Zelda fighting game, I would be all about that.
Totally.
But back on the subject of Tingle, just because I want everyone to imagine this, because it's the first thing I thought, is that I think he'd be a good fit for a Dynasty Warriors kind of game, and that's mainly because I want him to have like a total Dragon Ball Z moment
Where he freaks out.
Well, where he just starts charging up some special power, and he just goes, "Cool."
Will like a giant head of blonde hair erupt from under his like little green hood? Because that would be amazing.
It kind of has to. By the way, when we were talking about earlier about how Link is sort of boring, I guess, you'll notice that Impa is pulling down the moon from Majora's Mask to kill enemies.
All right,
that's the kind of cool stuff other characters do.
Now every character can do that. I wanted to point that out. That's one of my favorite things in the world. So you do find like a few Zelda items. Like you'll go out and you do in one level find bombs, you find a boomerang, you find a bow and arrow, and they're used for like secondary objectives, and there are boss fights. When I get to the end of this level, we'll see one of those that you have to use the bombs in. But like for the most part, they're just like extra weapons that you can use in battle. And every now and again, there's a random drop that will power them up. So you'll get like super big bombs, or you'll get, super big sweet light arrows. And when you get the hookshot power up, every single time you hookshot somebody, it pulls down the Majora's Mask moon on their face.
That's not strictly true.
Oh!
It depends on the enemies. Certain enemies that you use the hookshot on, particularly the larger flying bosses, like the dragons that you'll see, I think they're called Alphos. You can use the hookshot to pull them down to the ground, or to like cause certain bosses to collapse so that you can hit their weak point. But yeah, there's a surprising amount of utility for those sub-weapons.
So, yeah, where am I? That's the... Every now and again, when you're playing Dynasty Warriors, you have that one quick moment where you look at the map, and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah. That's one of the problems I had with Hyrule Warriors, though, is that even compared to other Dynasty Warriors games, the moments when the game tells you where to go are A, really brief, and B, they aren't always as clear as you'd like. And granted, a lot of that problem is probably my play style, where I'm trying to rush through enemies really quickly, and stuff's popping up on the screen, and I'm clicking through it. But at the same time, there has to be a better way to impart that kind of information to players, and that was kind of disappointing.
Well, there is one way. So when they tell you your objectives through these little blurbs of dialogue, and at least they're more descriptive here than they are in your average Dynasty Warriors game, where they can be very vague.
Sure.
They'll be like, we need to capture the base! And you'll look at the map, and there's like a billion bases, and it just makes no sense. But here, like, you just need to pay attention to what the characters are saying. And that's where you get the bulk of information as to what you need to do next, and then there'll be a highlighted place in the map. You can see right now, there are these little green flashes around where I need to go. But if you miss that stuff, there is a text feed on the Wii U gamepad. Like, everything that was just said and the objectives that have been updated are listed one after the other on the gamepad if you're playing on TV.
Right.
Which is pretty, like it's not a perfect solution, but it's pretty good.
Well, it's not, because, not everyone is always playing on the gamepad. I preferred to play on the TV just because
Right.
I don't know, this mission isn't a great example of it, but in some of the later missions you just have ridiculous numbers of enemies on the screen, and if you're playing on a smaller screen, you can't really see them all.
Yeah. I love... So this, like, again, like, Dynasty Warriors purists might be, like, disappointed, but there are no, like, mounts. Like, you don't get a horse, you don't get a Pona.
Yeah.
Because, like, man, if somebody told me that I could get, like, a giant feral chicken in this game to ride around as a mount, that would be amazing.
Of chickens, do we want to...
Well,
is it too much of a spoiler to talk about the cuckoos?
I'm hoping we can find one. Because
Okay.
there is a fairy fountain that I'm headed towards, and you do tend to find them in the fairy fountains.
True.
Well,
Yeah, I'll just tell
gentlemen,
people cuckoos. Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
we have
please.
to take a quick 30-second break. Those of you using what is it, Twitch
Turbo,
power-
we're not going
Twitch
anywhere.
Turbo.
We're
We'll not have this
broadcasting.
commercial, so the rest of you enjoy it. Be right back.
Yeah. Moblins. Moblins for days! Honestly, I know that some people don't care for Dynasty Warriors. Richard, you were saying, like, oh, it's just a Dynasty Warriors game. And I think part of what holds back Dynasty Warriors is the fact that they can be a little glitchy. They can
That's an understatement.
It's an
It's a
understatement.
very polite understatement.
yeah,
Yeah.
very polite understatement. They can be very, very glitchy. And, that's like one of the best things to recommend Twilight Princess is that it plays, or Twilight Princess, Hyrule Warriors. It plays smooth as butter. It's just, it always works. There's never a moment where the game, oh, there's no cuckoo in here. Dang.
Well,
That's unfortunate.
I mean, I've never been a huge fan of the Dynasty Warriors formula. Like, as a game that you can just kind of pick up and zone out on, I can appreciate, but what I always come back to is, you know, if I wanted to play a game with lots of combos and combat, I want to play something that's a little more complex, like a Bayonetta or a Ninja Gaiden. Although I will say that playing the first two missions of this game, which is all I've played so far, I mean, I do enjoy the Zelda characters, and I do enjoy that, you know, after the second mission, I unlocked the ability to play as Sheik, for example.
Yeah.
But, I mean, having said all that, I mean, I think if you're not, like, a huge Zelda fan, and you're not a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, like, I don't think it'll pull people in.
Yeah, I definitely, I think there is. I think that if people have never played a Dynasty Warriors game, like, that this is the one to try.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
This is like, I mean, and it's far more accessible even than some of the offshoots like Dynasty Warriors Gundam, which, like, God, you want to talk about dense and confusing. If you don't know anything about Gundam, there will be times where it will give you mission objectives and you'll just be like, what are you even talking about?
And maybe this is a good time to mention that I don't know quite how to feel about the fact that they brought the Ocarina of Time terrifying fairies into this game.
I love it. Well, like, of course, doesn't that feel just like utterly Tecmo Koei though? Like,
No. If like Team Ninja's gonna pick a fairy to put in the game, that's the one they're gonna do because it's almost naked.
Right.
But it's just she showed up and she's got those long fingernails and that like not quite all there laugh
I
that
love
she had.
that. Oh, yeah.
Like there's something wrong with her.
Oh, here we
Like-
go. I have the hookshot power up again. Next, check it out. Every time you get somebody. Oh, I was just about to pull down the moon on somebody.
Yeah, you should.
Dongo. Ah,
It,
give me.
it,
Here
it
we
won't
go,
do
here we
any
go.
good though, man.
Here we go.
Switch to
Yeah.
your bombs.
Do it.
The Dongo hates
You want me
smoke.
to
Here
lasso
we
the
go.
moon for you, Mr. Dodongo? I could, you know. I could just put a lasso.
I'll just pull that whole thing down on you.
Excellent.
Jimmy Stewart,
Oh,
what's your favorite Zelda?
Wait, which one? Who?
Jimmy Stewart, what's your favorite
Oh,
Zelda?
Jimmy Stewart. Let's see. I'm trying to think of. Isn't it Link to the Past that it has an? Isn't that like a mirror that takes you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that one because it reminds me of a window.
I thought it might be the one with all the trains, a nice old-timey, old-fashioned kind of Zelda.
Right.
I'm a little scared of trains. Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually,
if our-
I have never played Spirit Tracks.
Oh, really?
Really?
I am
It's
pretty.
good.
I am
It's really
pretty. I am not well versed in the mobile Zelda game. Mobile.
Those are the
That's
best
that's
ones.
a sign of our times. I'm not
Yeah.
a sign. I'm not a. I don't really know the handheld games very much.
Richard.
Spirit Tracks is actually very good.
Yeah, the handheld
It's
Zeldas are the best.
it's super weird. It's spectacularly weird.
I picked up the Oracle games on 3DS when they were released, but I just haven't played them yet.
Oh well, so you've never played them? 'Cause those.
I'm trying to think. The only mobile one that I've played is
Here we go. Bombs in the mouth.
Link Between Worlds.
Oh wow. You never played Link's Awakening? Like the Game Boy.
Yeah, I haven't played Link's Awakening.
Oh my gosh, Richard,
Yeah.
you will love
Right?
Link's Awakening. I
I
don't
didn't
even
have.
know.
I didn't have a Game Boy.
So Link's
Wow.
Awakening, like that's the thing. Like I would say, play that way before you play Minish Cap, or even
Oh wait,
the
I
Oracle
did play
games.
Minish Cap. I forgot.
Yeah, Minish
Hey,
Cap is cool.
Not to derail your talk here, but if you guys saw while he was killing Dodongo, so King Dodongo opens his mouth. Anthony throws a bunch of bombs in. He collapses, and this little hexagon appears above his head. As you attack him, little slices of that hexagon disappear, and as you get closer to red, they change into more immediate, or more urgent colors. Once you get all the way down, Link will do some super damaging attack, or Impa, and I think she's about to do it here. That will either do tons of damage or completely wipe out the boss immediately, like
I
that.
smoke that dude. Smoke that dude. Jenks 44 in the chat asked before if this is a tutorial level. This is the first level in the game, and I'm playing it on normal with a super over-leveled character. So,
Yeah, it's usually not this easy.
yeah, it shouldn't just be this kind of cakewalk. And LXLOC, is there co-op at all? There is indeed co-op, but it is couch co-op. There is no online, which I know that might be disappointing for some people, but the couch co-op works really, really well. And you don't even have to do split screen. Like, one person can play on the gamepad, and one person can play with a pro controller, and it's rad.
It's not that you don't have to be split screen, it's that you're not given the option for split screen.
Yeah.
The only way to play co-op is with one player on the Wii U gamepad watching that screen and another player playing on the TV the Wii U is connected to.
Yeah.
Which works great, it's just a little jarring and is an unorthodox
And-
situation.
As Hawk Tanner has pointed out, that this will be out on September 26th, and man, I'm so pumped because I'm playing a review copy that was provided by Nintendo, but on the 26th, on Friday morning, at the Nintendo World Store here in New York City, they're putting out, like, only at the World Store, these limited editions that doesn't have all the rad stuff that was in the limited edition that they released in Japan. I don't know if people know, the Japanese version has, like, a Triforce in it. You get a sweet treasure chest.
a metal gold looking Triforce.
Yeah, it's awesome. But you also get this sweet scarf that Link is wearing, and so at the Nintendo World Store that day, they're going to be release edition for the US that has that scarf in it. And I hate to admit it, I'm just admitting my nerdness on the air right now, but I gotta have that thing. I'm gonna look like the worst hipster ever. Like, it's gonna be great.
Does it come with one of the? Does it come with like a replica scarf? Because Link, I don't know if
that's
people
what
have noticed it. Link wears a very dapper blue scarf in this game. That's like his
you
big
get
design
that
change.
scarf. You get that scarf in the box.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal.
Clutch. So here at the end of the stage, you see your performance nets you a bunch of cash, and you see all the items that you collected from felled enemies, and you use those at the bazaar. How bizarre. How bizarre.
Yeah.
Here are all the characters that I have unlocked. I haven't gotten to Ruto or Ingrid in the adventure mode because I suck at the adventure mode. I'm really bad at it. But yeah, so you can select who you want. So here's Ganon, and then you can go in and there's the badges, which can I use anymore? All right, Darunia, who I don't use Darunia at all, the Goron chief. But you go into this menu, and there are all these things, these little badges that up your stats and your combo abilities. So this is the attack badges. And you can see that they're themed on, like, Zelda items and weapons. So I can go up here, and you can get the digging mitts, which are items from Skyward Sword. And
Right. They allow you to do damage to people who are blocking.
Yeah. So pretty cool, and then you can go down to the training dojo if any of your characters...
we're being corrected by Mountain Pew.
Oh, it's Agatha!
Yeah.
Agatha, not Ingrid. Thank you, Mountain Pew. God, my nerd cred just went out the window. Yeah, so in the training dojo, and this is the thing that's in most Dynasty Warriors games, if, like, one of your characters is dragging behind the others in levels, you can just use the money to level them up, but it's not like you can abuse this feature because buying a level for your character, which just increases their strength and health, like, buying a level is very expensive.
I have a question. When you're running around the maps and you're just fighting and stuff, there's a lot of pickups that you pick up that say things like strength increased or speed increased.
Mm-hmm.
Is that permanent?
No.
Or is that temporary?
No, those are temporary.
You're talking about the little gold pyramid things that float on the thing, and they say like speed plus 33% or something like that.
Right. Yeah, you'll pick that up, or you'll see like HP increased or stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
those are all temporary.
Little question for the chat before we get into the next level. When you're playing along the story branches at a certain point after Sia, the big bad, does her mojo. And you get to split off into the three primary Zelda worlds that it pulls from, which is Twilight Princess, Ocarina, and Skyward Sword, and you play a couple of levels based on those. So, question for the crowd, which would you like to see? Would you like to see an Ocarina of Time level? You have Death Mountain, which, not super jazzy, but there's also Lake Hylia and the Water Temple. It's not a crazy version of the Water Temple. There's the Twilight Field and the Palace of Twilight, which has all the Midna action, and then there's Skyloft from Skyward Sword. So chat, let us know which of these time periods you would like to see, and I'll hop in there.
Well, my vote's Lake Hylia. I'm just gonna put that up.
You want Lake Hylia, Richard?
But of course I'm not in the chat. It should be the readers can decide, or the viewers.
Yeah,
we've got more.
I'm going the same way. Ocarina of Time all the way.
Yeah, Lake Julia, Trickster 499. All right, all right, we've got overwhelming interest in Lake Hylia, and so which character does everybody want to see? Let me say that it's like before this is over, we need to use Fi, because people hate Fi. Fi is the blue woman that is highlighted on the screen. You guys will see it in a second.
That's reasonable. Fi's awful.
People hate Fi. I love Fi, and
Why?
I think she's cool, and Fi is even better in this game. She is one of the coolest characters to control. She is like a weaponized figure skater who just goes around pirouetting on people's faces. That's awesome.
I'm voting for either Sheik or Darunia, whichever one of them has lightning as their weapon skill.
Susan saying, of course I like Fi. We've got a few votes for Ganon. Yeah, Mountain Pew, do Shadow Moses.
Nice.
Oh! Alright, so there are a bunch of votes for Ganon, and I guess we'll do Ganon. And Ganon is just a bruiser. He's awesome.
First off, people, though, it's Ganondorf. We have to make the distinction because things change.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So, alright. Yeah, so we'll do Ganon for this level, and then we'll do Fi for the next one, and then maybe we'll get in a little Midna action. Midna is just, like such a goofy character that I love that they added her to the Zelda universe. It's so cool.
I guess.
Alright.
If you're into tiny characters.
I do like her little fang.
Her fang is awesome, and she's always like all snide and snarky. And like when she turns it, oh man, this is gonna be great. So this level starts in like the frozen Zora Palace from Ocarina of Time, and you actually do like you go up to where the chamber would be, and you jump off like in that. Get in!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take another quick commercial break. Those of you with Twitch Turbo won't have to deal with that.
You won't have to. You guys would just be like hanging out, seeing Ganon for days.
Sweet.
Yeah, Ganon is like one of like the only male characters that you use. Like I love, like Hyrule Warriors is just not a game that I expected to pass the Bechdel test within like an hour of turning on.
Yeah, but it totally does.
But it does.
It's like all women.
Now hold on. Are you telling me that that female characters in other Dynasty Warriors game spend all their time talking about men?
So
generally speaking,
yeah, all of the Dynasty Warriors games are basically about every character just worships one of these like generals. So pretty much all the time, if somebody is talking in Dynasty Warriors, male or female, they're talking about dudes.
Right. Yeah, Ancient China was pretty sexist, as it turns out.
Yeah. I don't know, it might be at the end of this level. I can't remember now, but it might be at the end of this level where... oh, no, it's not this level, because Princess Zelda's already hanging out. But, like, there's a whole scene, they do the whole thing with Sheik. Spoiler alert, everybody, Sheik is Princess Zelda. Hey, guess what? The statute of limitations on that spoiler is done, okay?
Yeah.
It's donezo. Oh, Princess Ruto. Princess Ruto, who is very aggressive in her affections towards Link in Ocarina of Time. But yeah, there's a whole scene where, like, Zelda and Impa are just, like, talking about, like, hey, like, I'm really sorry that I couldn't, like, immediately tell you it was me, and it's a really cool moment. The story is not, like, the deepest thing in the world in this, and it's totally goofy, but it's, you know, it's actually pretty good.
Like, and it works. It functions to set up the gameplay. That's really all you can, not hope for, but it's what you want from a Warriors game, you know?
It's as good as, like, a 90s TV anime.
So there's a question in the chat from, let me find this here. Spiral Dragon, is that right? Where'd it go? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Crow Guy, asking if you guys think that this is something that will actually move Wii U consoles. Like, if you don't already have a Wii U, is this something that's going to make people buy one?
No. Nothing about this is a system seller. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, the biggest system sellers of the Wii U are coming out this year. It's Mario Kart 8 and it's Super Smash Brothers. Those are the kinds of things that'll put this in people's houses. This game, however, you know what? I will go out on a limb and say that we don't see this in the top 10 of the September NPDs or the October ones. But you see Nintendo.
I agree.
You see Nintendo crow about its sales, because I think that a lot of existing Wii U owners, the 6 or 7 million that exist, will buy this game.
Right. And Nintendo has to crow about it, especially given how poorly the game has sold in Japan. It has.
Oh, has it?
It has not been doing well. Yeah, it has been like abysmally selling poorly.
So
really
next maybe you can answer this question then. Is Dynasty Warriors still the commercial force in Japan that it once was? Because there was a period of time in last decade when you would look at the top 10 lists,
right,
and literally every single game in Japan, like top 10 of the week, would be like Dynasty Warriors 2, Dynasty Warriors Extreme 3, Dynasty Warriors Hat Edition. Like,
well, that's the thing, is I don't think it's quite as prominent as it used to be, but it's still prominent enough to warrant, 3 different editions of the same game. For instance, Dynasty Warriors 8 was released on the PS3, then received the Dynasty Warriors Extreme expansion, which was then re-released on the PlayStation 4 and Vita as Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme.
Right.
They're one of those companies that likes to iterate their games over and over again, much like Capcom or, well, Team Ninja.
Hey, can I be absolutely clear about something? Ganondorf
Sure.
is metal.
Oh,
Like-
so metal.
Guy is freaking metal. There are
Yeah,
a lot of things that
absolutely
are, yeah, like on the grand scale of things that are metal, like a guy with 2 swords and a giant head of red spiky hair slicing up a field of skeletons, it doesn't get, like Iron Maiden should write an album that's just about Hyrule Warriors.
I think with a couple minor tweaks, you could probably just turn him into Knuckles and make this a Sonic Dynasty Warriors game.
Maybe that's what he does for a new job.
Because isn't there? There is some Sonic game. Maybe it's the new one that's coming up where he kind of looks like that. They made his spiky hair look more like big long dreadlocks.
Sonic Boom, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's like Knuckles is all tall in Sonic Boom.
Right.
God, I would love it if it was more like Ganondorf's hard up for work, and needs oh man, next Zelda game. They called the bad guy in Skyward Sword Demise instead of getting me, so I gotta get a new gig. And it's just him with a funny animal nose on, filling in for Knuckles. Yeah, it's me. I can fly, and I don't like Sonic.
Here's the thing, and it's on the Wii U, which hasn't sold tremendously well, and I don't know how much that's going to affect sales. But I mean, I would think in a different universe, at least, where it had sold the Wii U had sold pretty well, that this would sell better than your average Dynasty Warriors game,
Absolutely.
or Warriors or Orochi or whatever, purely because of the fact that it's called Zelda anything.
Yes.
I'm
I
actually
think
kind of
so.
surprised they didn't put Zelda in the title anywhere.
Yeah. It's and I think. Next, what is it called in Japan? Is it just Hyrule Musu?
I
Or
don't
however
know.
you pronounce that?
I knew this at some point. I don't at the moment, though, so I'm not going to make something up.
It might be called Zelda Musu. I don't know. Whatever.
Might be, but it certainly doesn't bear the whole, The Legend of Zelda,
Right.
whatever.
Well,
like you'd expect.
apparently the director,
Yes.
the original plan for this that they pitched was far more Zelda-like. It was dungeons and finding things, and Shigeru Miyamoto was no, that you don't get to do that. We call those games Zelda, and we want you to make something else. So I wonder if it was that was about maintaining the name.
Well, I mean, the last time
Yeah, I was just gonna
Nintendo handed one of its franchises to Team Ninja, we got Metroid Other M, so
Yeah.
I can see them being a little more cautious.
Oh, maybe Domestic Samus. Domestic Samus should be a downloadable character.
It always comes back to Domestic Samus.
Always comes back to Domestic
Always.
Samus.
Yes, I did look it up on Wikipedia. This is called Zelda Muso in
It is.
Japan.
Yeah.
Or Zeruda Muso. Because Zelda has 3 syllables in Japanese.
But that's still massively abbreviated from what it usually is in Japan.
Yeah.
The Japanese titles still usually have the Legend of Zelda bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Who knows what Nintendo's thinking?
Ganon for days. I don't know why I insist on continuing to say for days with everything today, but
It's all that butt discussion.
yeah, it's the butt discussion. Everybody, please. The Joystick podcast this week is largely about butts. Police understand.
Surprisingly about butts. I also wanted to point out to our readers that this level would be going a lot faster, except when we were at the I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the mission select screen, the level itself had a lightning icon, meaning that's the suggested element for the area.
Yeah.
Ganondorf uses void magic, so it's all dark and everything. It's the opposite of lightning, which is why it's taking more damage from Ganondorf to kill these enemies than it normally would.
So actually, I have a
but
question.
At the same time, you can. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say this might be because of the void magic. I've only played the first 2 missions, and Ganon has another energy bar of some kind.
Yeah.
Which is this purple bar that I haven't seen other characters use.
He and Princess Zelda have those extra bars, and they are like how
it's more than them. It's a couple of characters.
Oh, do more. Who else
there's
has
also
one? Because Lana doesn't have it, and Midna doesn't have it.
Yeah, I want to say I can picture the attack, but
does Sheik have it?
I think Link has it at a certain point in the game.
No, Link has it when he has the Master Sword.
I was trying not to spoil that, but yes, you're right.
Spoiler warning, everybody! Link gets the Master Sword in the Zelda game.
Nobody be too blown away. But those extra gauges are there's a move you can do to activate them, and then you're better, you're stronger.
And you've seen me. Oh God! Next, the Golden Skulltula has appeared. We should describe that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So presumably, if you've played any of the recent Legend of Zelda games, any of the 3D ones, you're aware of what a gold Skulltula is. It's this spider that has a skull on its back, and it's golden, and they're rare, and they're hidden. And in Hyrule Warriors, if you spend enough time on any given map, 1 of 100 or 200 once you beat the game, gold Skulltulas will appear somewhere. And the only hint you get is this like giant spiderweb icon that covers half the map.
You can see it right now.
Yeah, it's right at the top of the mini map there, and the gold Skulltula is somewhere in there. If you each time you collect a gold Skulltula, it gives you a piece of an illustration, and collect them all, and you get all of the illustrations, and they're like these unlockable, gorgeous pieces of artwork.
And also like unlocked like stat boosts. Like, the potions that you can purchase between stages, you can use items in exchange to get these potions. And the potions will make more items appear. Or more weapons appear, or higher level weapons appear.
Right.
So
which is the quickest way to, like...
beef up your... Yeah.
If you're just playing the game and just playing straight through, it'll take you forever to, like, find all the weapons and all the upgrades, which is why you need these kind of enhancements to speed up the process.
And so, like, the thing is, and I find this deeply frustrating, it's the one part of the game that I really don't care for, is the fact that, like, the gold Skulltulas are really, really, really annoying to find. They're super tiny, and, like, it's, like, yeah, you can hear them skittering like you can in Ocarina of Time. But, like,
if you're completely quiet and not killing anybody.
If you're
not killing anybody.
Right. Yeah, if you're just dead silent.
But yeah, they appear at random, and they can be like tucked up against walls or on walls. It's just they can be anywhere within that giant like half of the map. So yeah, they're not easy to find.
In the second mission that I played, I was in the area, and I had to blow up a boulder to find it. Like, it was hidden in much the way that you would find it hidden in, like, Ocarina of Time or something. You just blow up a rock, and it was hiding under there.
Totally. Yeah.
And, like, if it's gonna be, like, the extra art and stuff like that, I'm down. I think that's a fun thing to have as an unlockable. But, if you're gonna do the, if you're locking like, legitimate character upgrades behind that wall, God, like, make them a little bit easier to find.
But I will point out that they're not mandatory upgrades.
Yeah,
you can absolutely beat the game without collecting all the gold Skulltulas. I think I collected 1 before I beat the game.
Yeah, I got like 2.
It's very much the kind of thing that will compel you to go back and like replay the stages, but totally not mandatory.
And they appear like when you're doing other things.
It wasn't until just now that I saw Princess Zelda with a rapier that I noticed her resemblance to Raphael from Soul Calibur.
Very much, totally. Raphael, one of the most underrated Soul Calibur characters.
And you know, he's got long hair. He could be hiding some pointy elf ears under there.
He could. Isn't he a vampire though?
Don't ask me the Soul Calibur story.
Soul Calibur lore.
Like he became one after Soul Calibur 2 or something.
Well, he was a zombie first,
Yeah.
and possibly a werewolf at some point. I'm making things up now.
All I know is you could lunge from like halfway across the screen and just go poke, and it was awesome.
Oh wait,
Right.
this is the scene where Zelda and Impa have their little tete-a-tete. That's happening here. That's right.
Okay.
Yay.
I said.
I don't remember what's about to happen, so.
Because how? Spoilers.
Oh, right, the tete-a-tete. Okay, I get you now. Right. And yet another DLC character. Hooray.
I like that Princess Zelda, like, yes, she is wearing a dress, and that is not very convenient for a fight, but she's, like, wearing armor.
Yeah, no bikinis. No boobs hanging out everywhere.
Yeah.
All the women are relatively modestly dressed here.
Everybody's keeping it real. Let us close this gate together. I want to cut my hair like Impa. I bet my wife Kate would probably, at some point, be like, "Hey, you know, I noticed you got a haircut. Why didn't you cut all of it?" I'll be like, "Don't worry about it. It's
You
gonna
have to
look
grow
real,
it out a little bit first, aren't you?
It's gonna
You don't
look
think you
real
have long
cool."
hair, do you?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take us another quick commercial break. We'll be right back, unless you got Twitch Turbo, in which case, hey, stick around.
Hey. In which case, hey. So.
Hey.
All right, we have enough time for one more level, I think, and I think it's going to be. All right, we'll do Skyward, and we'll use Phi, because Phi rules.
Does she just kill you by talking people to death?
Hello, there's an 85% chance that you will want to go away after I have this conversation with you.
I just assume people avoid her because she's like uncomfortably naked.
She's wearing clothes. She's wearing a cloak.
Quote unquote clothes.
She's got a big diamond. She got that diamond.
She's got a big diamond. Sounds like a euphemism. She's got diamonds for days.
Diamonds for days.
Okay, so yeah, this will work out nicely. What was the element on the on that level? I wasn't paying attention to this.
It's light. Phi is the appropriate element for this level.
Lovely. Then this should go quicker.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
And this level's pretty sweet. If you've played Skyward Sword, a game that I actually enjoy and am not.
I'm sorry, something Mimic in the comments says Five's like the Watcher from Venture Brothers. Ignore me!
Oh my god, can we be clear that a Venture Brothers RPG would be the greatest game ever made?
God, like Venture Brothers, anything.
Anything.
You know, it would, but then the license would like go to Gearbox or something.
Yeah.
And it would just be disappointing to
Go to
everyone.
Gearbox. And then Gearbox would pay somebody else to make the Venture Brothers game.
Right, exactly. And it wouldn't even be like a developer. They'd like pay some homeless guy who lives down the street.
Which would, I suppose, actually be thematically appropriate for Venture Brothers.
And we might get a better Aliens game out of it too, so. Speaking of Aliens, I actually didn't know where I was going to segue with that, but what
Alien
stage
Isolation
is
is coming out soon. It looks awesome.
Looks so awesome.
I guess if you're into Aliens, I'm not that excited about it. After Colonial Marines, I have a hard time getting excited for anything Aliens based.
Do you not like survival horror games?
Not as much as I used to.
Well,
I blamed Capcom for that. They kind of took the Resident Evil series in a weird action direction and like ruined all of the survival horror bits I liked.
Phi's like, I don't even care, I can fly!
Yeah, I do like that she floats, and that a lot of her attacks actually see her turning into that sword that she
She's awesome. Awesome character.
Yeah, it's very clever design, especially on the attacks, because none of them were really, with the exception of Link's attacks, none of them were really drawn directly from The Legend of Zelda.
Right.
They had to come up with all of these new attacks, and they're really cleverly referential to the games where the characters came from.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, Fi turns into the sword because she's a sword. I don't know why Zelda has a rapier, but whatever.
Well, Zelda has a rapier in Twilight Princess.
See, I never played Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That is consistent.
Excellent.
I'd like to see you're a special at some point. I'd like to see what that looks like.
Which special?
You will
press
see
X, like the
you will
super
see it.
rage.
You will see it momentarily, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I just did it. She turns into the sword and slams everybody.
Okay.
She goes bam. Turncoat soldier, get out of here, buddy. Tired of your ways. I'm gonna do that super move again. Gunk. Yeah, God, I've played a lot of this game in the past 2 weeks. Next,
It's very addictive.
It's very
the kind of
addictive.
thing. It works it works from an addiction standpoint in two major ways. One, the stages are rarely longer than 15 minutes, so you can always kind of sit down and play something really quickly. And two, it's got that kind of Diablo style, every time you finish a mission you get tons of new items, and some might be good and some might not, but they're all random, so you never know what you're going to get, and it's like that feeling of opening presents on Christmas Day.
Totally, man. I don't understand why nobody has ever drawn the comparison between Dynasty Warriors and Diablo before. But until recently I had never played a Diablo game in my entire life. And
Whoa.
Yeah, and 3, I played 3 on PlayStation 4 and I adore it. And if anybody wants to watch a super entertaining stream, go find me, Richard, and Susan playing Diablo together, because that was awesome. But like when I was playing it, I was like, wow, this is very much like Dynasty Warriors-y. Like, you go in, you wail on people, and you get stuff, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would chime in as, someone who does not generally enjoy Dynasty Warriors style games. Like, I could play like a stage or so, but I guess it's just for me. Like, I made a funny tweet about it a while ago. Like, my review of this game is BBBY, 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 because that's really all you do. Now, you can do other combos. You can unlock new weapons and stuff, but at the base of it, it's just BBBY over and over.
Richard, do you know how people talk about, like, oh, well, Diablo doesn't really get good until you're playing on Inferno? Like, Dynasty Warriors is meant to be played, like, so, and like, they changed this in a lot of the localizations, but there's easy, normal, hard, and spicy. I am not making that up. That is a real thing. And so, when you play on spicy, there is a lot more health management. There's a lot more, like, you have to be going around the field and protecting your other soldiers. You have to have the right equipment. You have to be dodging. It's far more demanding.
Can you play that from the get-go?
You can play on hard. And hard is more challenging and more involved.
How long do you have to play to unlock this
Spicy?
actual challenge and difficulty? Yes.
I have not unlocked it here. Spicy. I don't think it's called spicy in Hyrule Warriors. Next, is it called spicy?
No. Unfortunately, it's not. There is a difficulty level above hard. I don't remember what the name is, but I believe you have to complete hard.
You have to finish. Yeah, you have to complete hard.
Yeah.
But you can just start on hard. And hard is hard. Like, especially like if you're low level, hard is tough.
Yeah, it's a much more
I don't want to say plodding, but you have to take your time with the game. On hard, you can't just rush into groups and just start wailing away on the buttons. You have to kind of plan things out and figure out which enemies you need to kill first and which enemies can be left for later. There's a lot more strategy in hard.
Yeah,
Most people
it's being
don't
called
play
hero
hard.
mode apparently.
Hero mode. Hero
There
mode.
you go.
That's what
the
they
word.
usually call it in the United States, I think. Like, that's the localization of spicy. Spicy! Has anybody in the chat...
better than hero.
Has anybody in chat ever played the PS1 Dynasty Warriors games? The original Dynasty Warriors games?
The fighter.
Yeah, well, it wasn't 1 a fighter, and then 2 was, like...
One was a 3D fighter, like Tekken style, and then
Right.
2 was more the Dynasty Warrior style, but with like the characters from the fighter.
Right.
Uh,
And there was like the strategy-ish offshoot. That was a PS2
Kessen?
launch game. Kessen, thank you.
yeah.
Does Dynasty Warriors have anything to do with Romance of the Three Kingdoms?
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's the
And-
same story.
It's the same, like, the
Sure.
big secret, not only does every Dynasty Warriors game look like it plays exactly the same, it's the same story.
Yeah,
like,
they're all
part of-
retelling the Three Kingdoms saga.
Part of the hook for Dynasty Warriors 8 when it came out last year was the game being like, yeah, but this one has what-if stories. Like, what if this fight went completely different than it did in Romance of the Three Kingdoms?
Right, exactly.
Which I
They ran out of
love.
stuff to do, so they just started making stuff up.
Well, I
Do they
want
still make any of those games? I used to watch my brother play those for hours.
yeah,
Dude, they just released one like
Yeah.
last week.
Okay.
Yeah, although they're not all Dynasty Warriors games now. They've branched out to Samurai Warriors, which focuses on Japanese history. Warriors Orochi, which is kind of a mashup of all of their Warriors games in an alternate demonic reality. And then a bunch of anime licenses, like there's 3 Gundam games I think so far. There's a One Piece game.
There's going to be a Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest one.
Yeah, which is exciting. And
Yeah, I will play the bejesus out of that.
totally.
Like I do understand the appeal. I think they are. It's a nice way to just kind of sit back and hack away, and it looks cool and it's fun to kill like hundreds of dudes at once. But I just like I said, I think before the stream, like for my money, I would rather play like a Bayonetta or
Right.
a Ninja Gaiden if I'm going to play something like this.
That's
And
fair.
I see I don't know why, like, because I love Diablo 3 and I'm complaining about doing the same thing over and over again, which you certainly do in Diablo, and you do in Destiny. I've been playing the hell out of that. I think it's just the gameplay itself. It's just the immediate action versus like Diablo, where it's the combination of skills that you want to take into battle is different.
Yeah, Richard, I'd be very interested to see what you thought of playing like this on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, and I would never play it long enough to unlock it.
Yeah.
I played it today for the sake of the stream, and I enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more than I would another Dynasty Warriors game because of the Zelda license. But even after just 2 levels, it's like, yeah, this isn't something that I'm gonna finish, and I wouldn't play it if someone hadn't sent me a copy, which happened.
Thank God for collusion, huh?
Hey,
But I totally understand why people appreciate it, and like unlocking new stuff, getting new weapons, or, getting new combos and stuff. That's fun. That's cool. I get that. And I think you're right, Anthony. If you're not really into Dynasty Warriors, but you want to try it, this seems like a really good place to start because
Yeah.
you've got all these great familiar characters that you love.
and like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, like, this is what happens when Nintendo decides to let somebody play in their pool. Like, their production staff at Nintendo, like, overseeing these things and helping out to make sure that everything is nicely polished, everything is, like, there's no glitches. Like, you end up with something that feels a lot better than, like, Dynasty. I love Dynasty Warriors games. Man, they're just the jankiest. Just the jankiest.
A good question for you, Ernest. You like Muso
Yeah.
games, right? That's
Love
like,
them. Yes.
So
Well, not love them. I'm affectionate towards them.
okay,
in a
well, we've had
non-romantic
this
way.
we've had this discussion about how this is a good one to start with.
Yeah.
If say this is someone's first Dynasty Warrior game, they play it, they like it. What would you suggest they try next if they really enjoyed this?
That's kind of a difficult question. The big reason why I suggest that people play Hyrule Warriors before the other Musou games, if they haven't ever gotten into the genre before, is that the characters in Hyrule Warriors, not only are they readily familiar due to their history in the Legend of Zelda games, but they are far more unique than any of the characters in the other Warriors games. And granted, a lot of that's because the characters in the Warrior games are based on historical figures, but unless you have an in-depth knowledge of Chinese or Japanese history, you're not going to be able to memorize all, 150 characters that are in these other games. That said, if you do get into the genre and you dig the gameplay, it's really easy to learn about these other characters. So in that case, I would recommend going with the most recent Warriors Orochi game. I believe it's Warriors Orochi 3 or Warriors Orochi 3 Extreme.
Yeah. 3 is
but
being
it's the
suggested
one...
in the comments too.
Yeah, there you go. It's the one that mashes up characters from Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors and drops them into this like Asian hell where they have to fight off the Orochi demon people who are going to invade the world. So it's kind of like the best of all of the Warriors games in one game. But again, that's not going to be anywhere near as accessible as Hyrule Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more stuff to do. But you're gonna have to put in a lot of time to.
You hate this big lumbering pile of spikes.
I just had to throw it in there because like the number of times I had to jump on his stupid back and hammer that thing into his head. I just hated it.
Hammer what thing into his head?
He's got a big like. That's how you get rid of him in the in Skyward Sword.
Right.
Oh, okay. I never played Skyward Sword. I was like, attack his toes. Why are you attacking his head? But yeah, if you attack his toes, he falls over.
I like that Render B says in the chat regarding the Dynasty Warriors games. What? Not everyone knows the Yellow Turban Rebellion in detail?
Yeah.
See, I do now from playing the Dynasty Warriors games.
Right.
Is the Iron Shirt Rebellion in there? The Boxer Rebellion.
The Boxer Rebellion was a little too late.
The
Boxer Rebellion was in the 19th century.
Oh,
hey, that's okay.
Which is about 1,000 years later than the Dynasty.
Hey, we can just add it in.
Do you realize that we are playing a completely fictional fantasy universe right now? They could make a game out of it.
They could borrow Link's time machine.
On that subject of a completely fictional fantasy universe, everybody, it is after 5 p.m. EST, and that brings us to the end of the stream. Hyrule Warriors will be out on September 26th. And yeah, it's a Wii U game, one of many that is actually really, really, really good. Thank you all for coming out. Go read Nex's review of Hyrule Warriors if you want to know more about it on joystick.com. That's joystiq.com. And we're doing a giveaway right now. We gave away a bunch of copies of Destiny. They are all gone, but we are also giving away a whole bunch of awesome graphic novels right now. For a graphic novel called In Real Life, which is about a gold farmer who does it professionally. You can see here on normal mode that these scrubs just aren't even attacking me when I sit there with them, like, not touching the controller. Yeah, we had a really good time today. Thank you for coming out. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Google+. Just search for Joystick with a Q. If you want to listen to a podcast that's all about video games and butts, turn into the Super Joystick. Turn into the Super Joystick podcast tomorrow. And yeah, next week we have some more really exciting streams. We're gonna be playing a game called Interstellar Marines, which is super weird. We're gonna have some of the devs from that hanging out with us, and giving away copies of that as well. So yeah, if you want to know more about that, follow us on those sites that I mentioned before, and follow us here on Twitch to know when we go live.
And I would say that tomorrow we'll have a surprise stream at some point during the day to unbox the new Super Smash Bros. 3DS XL.
Bam! We're
which we will be giving away after that.
We'll be giving away. Yeah, a free Super Smash Bros. 3DS XL. If you guys are interested in that. So follow us here on Twitch. That way you'll know when we go live, and that way you'll find out about it. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.